Are you here to kill me?
Welcome back to your nerdy show. I'm your host, Spoiler Master. Today, we're diving deep into one of the strangest, most unsettling mysteries in Severance, Lumon's infamous goat department. Ever since Season 1, the image of baby goats being raised in the depths of Lumon's severed floors has stuck with us, and now Season 2 is finally shedding more light on this bizarre operation. But instead of answers, we're left with even more chilling questions. What's really going on with these goats? Why is Lumon so obsessed with raising them? And how does it all tie into the company's dark experiments on severed employees? Buckle up, because we're about to break it all down.
Mammalians Nurturable.
The Mammalians Nurturable Department. For those who have been wondering what this department truly does, Season 2 provides a name, Mammalians Nurturable. It's a much larger department than macro data refinement, indicating that Lumon is investing considerable resources into its operations. At its core, Mammalians Nurturable focuses on raising and tending to goats, but their end goal remains shrouded in secrecy. Throughout Season 2, we learn more about how the employees care for the goats. They bottle feed them milk, dress up in black goat costumes to blend in with the kids, and even place them in specialized husbandry tanks. Additionally, they use shears to groom the goats and wear clothing reminiscent of old-fashioned dairy farmers and milkmaids. The choice of attire is peculiar, suggesting that Lumon believes in a psychological or traditional approach to animal rearing that might serve a larger hidden function. Similar to macro data refinement employees mindlessly sorting numbers without knowing their significance, the workers of Mammalians Nurturable likely have no idea what their work is truly accomplishing. The emphasis on getting the goats ready for something sinister is apparent, and the fact that Lumon sometimes removes them prematurely hints at a testing process with unknown variables.
Can't take them yet, they're not ready. It isn't time.
The dark purpose of Lumon's goats. When Helly and Mark adventure into the Mammalians Nurturable department, they come across Gwendolyn Christie's unnamed character, who immediately raises her shears and demands, "Are you here to kill me?" While this could be a response to Lumon's aggressive anti-fraternization tactics that pit departments against each other, it also implies that she's aware of something dangerous happening within the company. If she fears being eliminated, she may know more than she lets on about Lumon's deeper, darker experiments. There are several possible explanations for what the goats are being used for. Preliminary test subjects for Severance experiments. Lumon could be experimenting on young goats before transitioning those methods to severed employees. Much like how MDR's numbers contribute to human experiments, Mammalians Nurturable might be conditioning goats to test new severance procedures or modifications. Severance implants in animals. Lumon may be placing severance chips in the brains of goats to study their effects before implementing them on humans. The idea of testing severance technology on animals before scaling up to humans aligns with the company's unethical scientific practices. Training for raising severed humans. The methods used to nurture these goats could be a preliminary experiment in raising severed individuals from birth. If Lumon can train severed goats to behave in specific ways, they might be able to apply the same methodology to people, potentially leading to the cultivation of severed children who are entirely obedient to the company's will. Bioengineering or genetic experimentation. There is also the possibility that Lumon is genetically modifying the goats in some way, either to create an enhanced biological component or to test the effects of severance on cognitive and physical development.
She used to come do her sessions in our husbandry tanks.
Ms. Casey and the Husbandry Tanks. Perhaps the most chilling revelation in Season 2, Episode 3, is that Ms. Casey, also known as Gemma, was previously involved in Mammalians Nurturable's operations. When Mark and Helly ask about her, Gwendolyn Christie's character mentions that Ms. Casey used to do sessions in their husbandry tanks. The nature of these tanks remains unknown, but they seem to play a role in conditioning both the goats and possibly severed individuals like Ms. Casey. If Lumon is using the husbandry tanks for biological and psychological development, it raises the disturbing possibility that severed employees are being refined through a combination of mental programming, such as MDR's Cold Harbor Project, and physical conditioning within these tanks. Ms. Casey's placement in these sessions suggests that her development was being carefully monitored and manipulated by Lumon for a larger experiment. One theory is that Lumon is using different departments to contribute to a single, overarching project, potentially a program aimed at creating fully controlled, severed humans from birth. If true, every department from MDR to Mammalians Nurturable may be working on pieces of this grand experiment without realizing it.
Like to see your bellies.
The pouch rumors, how Lumon manipulates its employees. One of the strangest moments in Season 2, Episode 3, occurs when Gwendolyn Christie's character demands that Mark and Helly lift their shirts to prove they don't have stomach pouches. When they comply, she turns to her colleagues and says, "See, pouchless." Another worker, however, insists that this doesn't prove anything, suggesting that the belief in MDR employees having marsupial-like pouches is deeply ingrained. This bizarre rumor about pouches isn't new. In Season 1, Bert tells Irving that MDR employees supposedly have larvae in their stomachs that will eventually eat and replace them. At first, it seemed like this myth was confined to optics and design, but Season 2 confirms that it has spread to the Mammalians Nurturable department as well. This false information serves a clear purpose. Lumon deliberately isolates its severed employees by instilling irrational fears about other departments. By convincing workers that MDR employees are physically different creatures, Lumon fosters mistrust and prevents interdepartmental collaboration. If departments started working together, they might piece together the company's larger agenda and rise up against their corporate overlords.
Kill her if
That's
they find
not a mammalian's problem.
What this means for the future of Severance. Season 2's exploration of the goat department adds another layer to Lumon's twisted experiments. The Mammalians Nurturable department isn't just a quirky anomaly, it's a crucial part of Lumon's grander scheme. Whether through conditioning, severance implantation, or biological experimentation, these goats represent a stepping stone towards something even more sinister. The presence of Ms. Casey in the husbandry tanks suggests that the same techniques used on the goats are also being applied to severed individuals. If Lumon is refining its ability to manipulate human biology and psychology, then the true purpose of Severance might be far darker than anyone initially believed. As the season progresses, the connections between Lumon's departments are becoming clearer. If every team is unknowingly contributing to one massive project, then the true horror of Severance isn't just about splitting consciousness, it's about shaping it from the ground up. What Lumon is doing with the goats may very well be the blueprint for what they plan to do with people.
Excuse me, have you seen this woman?
Hey, stop that.
Her name's Miss Casey. She was the wellness...
Some fan theories around the web. Thankfully, some very clever Severance fans have taken to social media to share their wildest and sometimes eerily plausible theories about what the goats in Lumon's basement are all about. Since the show loves to keep its mysteries tightly locked away, these theories offer some fascinating possibilities. Let's dive into some of the most intriguing ones. The goats are the Lumon Board of Directors. One of the most bizarre and strangely fun theories is that the goats are actually the Board of Directors. Think about it. We've never seen the board in person, only heard their unsettling silence when Ms. Coble tries to communicate with them. What if the reason they never respond directly is that, well, they're just a bunch of goats? This theory was even presented to the Severance cast in an Entertainment Weekly video. John Turturro, Irving, wasn't buying it, but Zach Cherry, Dylan, didn't dismiss it outright. "I'm not going to debunk this because it's possible," he said. "The goats could be the board." Hey, at this point, anything is possible in Lumon. A connection to the great god Pan-One. Redditor pointed out that Severance shares eerie similarities with Arthur Machen's 1894 horror novel, The Great God Pan. In the book, a woman named Mary undergoes a strange experiment to gain supernatural sight, but things take a horrific turn. She's assaulted by the goat-like deity, Pan, and later gives birth to a child named Helen, who goes on to cause destruction. Now compare that to Severance. Helly's name sounds a lot like Helen. She tried to hang herself, much like some characters in the book. The jelly-like imagery in the show's opening credits could connect to Helen's fate in the novel. Could Severance be borrowing from this unsettling tale? It wouldn't be the first time a sci-fi show pulled inspiration from classic horror literature. The goats are test subjects for Severance technology. Here's a more straightforward but still creepy theory. The goats were Lumon's first test subjects for Severance technology. Why goats? Well, they have an insanely good memory. If you're developing a way to split consciousness, wouldn't it make sense to test it on animals with exceptional recall before trying it on humans? Maybe these goats have been severed. Maybe their innie side doesn't even remember how to be a goat. Now that's a terrifying thought. The goats aren't actually goats. Of course, in Severance, nothing is ever what it seems. So naturally, some fans believe the goats aren't really goats at all. One Redditor suggested that the innies at Lumon have perception filters on, meaning they think they're seeing goats, but they could actually be looking at something else entirely. For example, the numbers they're seeing aren't actually numbers, but something like video or images. The numbers feel scary or happy because the pictures are. The goats aren't really goats, but actually human children, possibly clones, they theorized. So the innies could be unknowingly walking past a room full of cloned kids and their brains. Just rewrite what they see as harmless little goats. Yeah, that's straight up nightmare fuel.
You should have left.
Our nerdy thoughts. With each revelation, Severance Season 2 continues to peel back the layers of Lumon's horrifying ambitions. So, what do you think is really going on with Lumon's goat department? Are they testing Severance on animals before using it on humans? Are they perfecting ways to mold severed employees like livestock? Or is there an even bigger, more sinister experiment happening behind the scenes? Whatever the truth is, Severance Season 2 is only getting darker, and we can't wait to see where it goes next. Let us know your theories in the comments below, and if you enjoyed this deep dive, don't forget to like and subscribe for more Severance breakdowns. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.
She said my Audi excels at stargazing.
No, what the heck, I'll laugh anyway.